Hello community. As you enjoy this video, don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe. By doing so you encourage me to bring more stories to you. Now enjoy this story. Keep watching. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the streets. Chica hurried along, her small nylon bag of groceries swinging in her hand. She wasn't rich, far from it, but she had enough to survive. And to her, that was something to be grateful for. As she turned a corner, she saw him, a beggar sitting on a piece of torn cardboard, his head bent low, arms wrapped around his frail body. His clothes were old and ragged, his feet bare against the rough pavement. People walked past without even glancing at him. Some wrinkled their noses, others acted like he didn't exist. Chica slowed down. She had seen him before, sitting at the same spot for days. Something about him made her pause. Maybe it was the way his shoulders shook slightly, like he was cold. Or maybe it was the way his fingers clutched his stomach, as if hunger was eating him from the inside. She sighed. "Excuse me," she said softly. The man lifted his head, and for a moment, Chica felt something strange. His eyes, they didn't look like the eyes of a man who had given up. There was something there, something she couldn't place. "Are you hungry?" she asked. He nodded slowly. Without thinking twice, Chica reached into her bag and pulled out a loaf of bread and a bottle of water. "Here, take this." His hands trembled as he collected them. He stared at her like he couldn't believe it. "You don't have to look so surprised," she joked, trying to lighten the mood. "Just eat." A small smile tugged at the corner of his lips. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Chica smiled back. "No problem. Take care, okay?" With that, she turned and continued her way home, thinking nothing of it. She had no idea that by the next day, her life was about to change in a way she never expected. The next morning, Chica stepped out of her small apartment, stretching as she inhaled the crisp air. It was just another day, or so she thought. As she walked down the street towards the market, she noticed something unusual. People were gathered in a small crowd, whispering and pointing at something, their faces filled with shock and curiosity. Her heart skipped. What was going on? She moved closer, squeezing through the curious onlookers. And then she saw it. A sleek, black Lamboghini parked right in front of the very spot where the beggar had sat the day before. The car's surface gleamed under the morning sun, its doors opened in a way that screamed wealth. Standing beside it was a man, dressed in an expensive suit, his wristwatch glinting. But it wasn't the car or the expensive clothes that made Chica's breath hitch, it was his face. It was the same man she had given bread and water to the day before. Her stomach twisted. This had to be a joke. Was this some kind of prank? As if he could feel her staring, the man turned, and the moment his eyes met hers, a slow smile spread across his face. Chica's legs refused to move. Her mind raced, searching for an explanation, but nothing made sense. Then, he did something that made the entire street go silent. He walked straight to her, stopping just a breath away. "Good morning, Chica," he said smoothly, like they were old friends. Her mouth fell open. How do you know my name?" she stammered. The man chuckled. "Let's just say, I know a lot more than you think." His gaze held something deep, something unreadable. Chica took a small step back, confusion washing over her. Who are you?" The man exhaled, then smiled again. "Someone who doesn't forget kindness. And today, it's my turn to return the favor." Chica's heart pounded as she took another step back. The entire street was watching, their eyes bouncing between her and the man in the suit. "Return the favor," she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, his smile never fading. "You didn't ask me who I was before helping me. You didn't look down on me like others did. You gave me food, not knowing I could afford 1,000 loaves. You were kind for no reason." Chica swallowed hard. I don't understand." The man glanced at the luxury car beside him, then back at her. "Yesterday, I wasn't in need. I was in disguise." Her breath caught in her throat. "Disguise?" He took a step closer. "My name is Dyke. I own several businesses across the country. But lately, I started questioning everything, who my real friends were, who would stand by me if I had nothing. He paused, his expression turning serious. So, I dressed as a beggar to see how the world would treat me. And you passed the test. Chica's knees felt weak. A test, she echoed. Dyke nodded. You were the only one who stopped, the only one who gave without expecting anything in return. That kind of heart is rare. The street was silent, everyone listening intently. Some looked guilty, others amazed. But Chica felt overwhelmed. I didn't do it for a reward, she said finally. I saw someone hungry, and I helped. Dyke's smile widened. That's exactly why you deserve this. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a single key. Then, without warning, he stretched it towards her. Chica's breath hitched as she stared at it. What is this? She asked slowly. The car, Dyke said simply. It's yours now. Chica blinked rapidly, her mind refusing to process what she had just heard. The car was hers. A whole Lamboghini. Just like that. She let out a nervous laugh, shaking her head. This must be a joke. Dyke's expression remained calm. It's not. He held out the key again, his gaze steady. Take it. Chica's hands trembled. She could feel the weight of everyone's stares, the murmurs rising in the crowd. Some were whispering in shock, others in jealousy. She took a step back. I can't accept this. Dyke arched a brow. And why not? Chica exhaled sharply. Because I didn't help you for a reward. I wasn't expecting anything in return. She hesitated, trying to find the right words. I just did what any normal person should do. Dyke studied her for a moment, then chuckled. And that's exactly why you should take it. You're different, Chica. She shook her head. This is too much. Dyke took another step forward, lowering his voice. Tell me something. If I were still sitting on that pavement today, would you give me bread again? Chica frowned. Of course. Even knowing who I am now? She hesitated for a second, then nodded. Yes. Dyke smiled. Then let me do the same. Let me give without expecting anything in return. Let me do for you what you did for me. Chica's breath caught in her throat. The logic was so simple, yet it hit her deep. The kindness she had shown him was now being reflected back at her. Slowly, hesitantly, she reached out and took the key from his hand. The crowd gasped. Dyke grinned. Now, how about we go for a ride? Chica's fingers tightened around the key as her heart pounded. The weight of it felt unreal. A few hours ago, she had left her house like any other day. Now, she was standing in front of a Lamborghini, holding the key to a life she never imagined. She swallowed hard, glancing at Dyke. I don't even know how to drive this kind of car. Dyke chuckled. Then I guess today's a good day to learn. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder. Some people looked happy for her, but others wore bitter expressions. Chica could feel the weight of their jealousy, but she pushed it aside. She had done nothing wrong. Dyke stepped closer and gestured towards the car. Come on. Get in. Chica hesitated, then, taking a deep breath, she walked towards the sleek vehicle. She opened the door and sank into the leather seat. The interior smelled expensive, like wealth had a scent. Her fingers ran over the smooth steering wheel, her breath shaky. Dyke slid into the passenger seat beside her. Take a deep breath. It's just like any other car, just faster and louder. She let out a nervous laugh. That's not helping. He grinned. All right, put your foot on the brake and press that button. Her heart pounded as she followed his instructions. The moment she pressed the start button, the car roared to life. The deep, growling sound sent a shiver down her spine. It felt powerful, like sitting on a beast waiting to be unleashed. Dyke leaned back with a satisfied smile. See? Not so scary. Now, let's take it for a spin. Chica glanced at him, then at the crowd still watching. A part of her was still in disbelief. But another part was ready to see where this ride would take her. Chica gripped the steering wheel, her palms damp with sweat. The engine's hum vibrated through her, both thrilling and terrifying. She had never driven anything this powerful before. Dyke chuckled beside her. Relax. It's just a car, not a wild animal. She let out a shaky breath. Feels like one. He leaned closer, his voice calm. Just ease your foot off the brake and give it a little gas. Chica's heart pounded as she followed his instruction. The car rolled forward smoothly, and the crowd let out a collective gasp. It felt unreal, behind the wheel of a machine like this. She caught a glimpse of some people shaking their heads, their eyes filled with envy. Others cheered, clapping for her. She focused ahead, her hands gripping the wheel tighter. Where do I go? Dyke smirked. Anywhere you want. This is your car now. Her stomach flipped. The thought still didn't feel real. I think I need a quiet place first. To breathe. Dyke nodded. Good idea. Take a right up ahead. Let's go somewhere peaceful. She carefully turned the wheel, her movements stiff but controlled. With each second, she grew more confident. The car responded to her touch like it was made for her. The feeling was unlike anything she had ever known. As they drove past the crowd, she caught a glimpse of a familiar face, Madame Abir, the woman who sold a cara at the corner. The woman's arms were crossed, her lips pressed into a tight line. Chica could almost hear the words she wasn't saying. How did she, of all people, get this kind of luck? Chica swallowed hard and faced the road. She had done nothing wrong. She had only been kind. And now, kindness had brought her here, driving into a future she never saw coming. Chica's hands had stopped shaking by the time they reached a quiet spot near the outskirts of town. The road was smoother here, lined with tall trees that swayed gently. She pulled the car to a stop, exhaling deeply. Dyke watched her with amusement. See? You're a natural. She let out a nervous laugh. That was the most stressful thing I've ever done. He grinned. Well, you did better than I expected. She turned to face him. Dyke, I need to understand something. Who are you? Really? His smile faded slightly. He leaned back in his seat, looking thoughtful. Let's just say I wasn't always this lucky. Chica folded her arms. That's not an answer. Yesterday, you were sitting on the roadside, looking like you hadn't eaten in days. Today, you show up in a Lamboghini. How does that happen? Dyke sighed, rubbing his palms together. All right. You deserve to know. But before I tell you, promise me one thing. She raised a brow. What? That no matter what I say, you won't regret helping me. Her brows furrowed. Why would I regret it? His eyes darkened slightly, as if memories were playing in his mind. Just promise. Chica hesitated, then nodded. Okay. I promise. Dyke looked out the window for a moment before turning back to her. I wasn't always on the streets, Chica. I used to be someone else. Someone people feared. Her breath caught. Feared? He nodded slowly. Yes. And if people knew who I really was, they wouldn't just be jealous of you, Chica. They'd be scared for you. A cold shiver ran down her spine. She had thought this was just an unbelievable stroke of luck. But now, she wasn't so sure. What are you saying, Dyke? She whispered. He met her gaze, his eyes filled with something she couldn't quite place. I'm saying that helping me might change your life in ways you never imagined. And not all of it will be good. Chica's breath hitched as she stared at Dyke. His words felt heavy, pressing down on her chest. What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dyke exhaled slowly, his fingers tapping against his knee. Before you found me on the street, I was someone else. Someone with power, money, connections. But all of that came at a price. Chica's stomach tightened. What kind of price? He hesitated, then looked her dead in the eyes. A dangerous one. One that made me enemies, powerful enemies. She swallowed hard. So, you're telling me you weren't just a beggar? He let out a dry chuckle. Far from it. The car felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. Chica's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. Then how did you end up on the street? If you had all this power and money, why were you sitting there, looking like you had nothing? Dyke rubbed his face. Because I lost everything overnight. The same people who once shook my hand turned their backs on me. My so-called friends disappeared. And the ones I thought were my allies became my greatest threats. Chica frowned. And now you're back, just like that. With a car like this. What changed? Dyke's lips curled into a small smile. You did. Her heart skipped a beat. Me? What does that even mean? When you helped me, you reminded me that kindness still exists. And because of that, I found a way to rise again. I made a few calls, reached out to old connections. Some doors that were once closed opened back up. Chica shook her head, trying to process everything. So now what? You just came to give me a car and disappear. Dyke's eyes darkened slightly. No. I came to warn you. My enemies don't forget. If they find out I'm back, they'll come looking. And now, you're in the picture. A cold chill ran down her spine. What are you saying, Dyke? That I'm in danger? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black card. Take this. If anything feels off, if you notice anyone watching you, following you, call me. No matter what. Chica hesitated before taking the card. It felt like she was holding more than just paper. It felt like she was holding a warning, a door into something she wasn't sure she wanted to step into. Dyke's voice was gentle but firm. You helped me when I had nothing, Chica. Now it's my turn to protect you. Her fingers tightened around the card as unease settled in her chest. She had thought she was just being kind to a stranger. But now, she wasn't sure what she had gotten herself into. Chica couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling as she drove home. The black card Dyke had given her sat on the passenger seat, staring back at her like it held secrets she wasn't ready for. She picked it up, running her fingers over the smooth surface. No number, no name, just a symbol embossed in gold. It looked like something out of a movie. She exhaled sharply. What have I gotten myself into? By the time she reached her compound, the sun had dipped below the horizon. She parked, grabbed her bag, and stepped out of the car, her eyes scanning the area as if expecting someone to jump out from the shadows. But everything was normal. The familiar chatter of her neighbors filled the air, children ran around barefoot, and the smell of frying plantain wafted through the air. Yet, something felt different. She hurried inside, locking the door behind her. Dropping her bag on the table, she sat down and stared at the black card again. Should she call him? Ask more questions? Or was it better to pretend none of this had happened? Her phone vibrated. She nearly jumped. It was a message from an unknown number. Asterisk asterisk unknown asterisk 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 I hope you got home safe. Remember what I said. Asterisk. Her heart pounded. Dyke. How did he even get her number? She typed back hesitantly. Asterisk how did you get my number? Asterisk. A reply came almost immediately. Asterisk asterisk unknown asterisk 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 I told you, Chica. I know things. And I need you to trust me. Asterisk. Trust. How could she trust someone who had gone from begging on the street to driving a Lamboghini overnight? Someone who hinted at dangerous enemies but wouldn't give her the full truth. She deleted her response and tossed the phone on the table. Maybe if she ignored it, everything would go back to normal. But normal had already slipped through her fingers. A knock on the door made her freeze. She wasn't expecting anyone. Slowly, she stood up, her pulse racing. Who is it? Silence. Then, another knock, this time, more urgent. Her mind screamed at her not to open it, but her hands had already moved on their own. She turned the lock and pulled the door open just a crack. A man stood there. Tall, dressed in black, with a face she had never seen before. Chica. His voice was deep, unreadable. She gripped the door tighter. Who are you? He tilted his head slightly, studying her. I think you already know. Chica's breath caught in her throat. The stranger's eyes held no warmth, no emotion, just a quiet intensity that sent shivers down her spine. I don't know you, she said, her fingers tightening on the door handle. The man smirked, a slow, knowing smile. That's funny because I know you. And I know about Dyke. Her stomach twisted. I don't know what you're talking about. The man leaned slightly closer, his presence swallowing the space between them. Listen, Chica. I don't have time for games. Where is he? Her pulse hammered against her ribs. I don't know. He exhaled sharply, his jaw tightening. You see, that's a problem. Because I don't like being lied to. Chica swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed at her to shut the door, to lock herself inside, but she forced herself to stay calm. You need to leave. I don't know anything. The man studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. All right. If that's the story you want to stick with, fine. But let me tell you something, Dyke is not who you think he is. And if you're not careful, you'll find out the hard way. Chica's fingers trembled on the door. Is that a threat? It's a warning. The man's expression darkened. Stay away from him. For your own good. Before she could respond, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night like a shadow. Chica stood frozen, her heart slamming against her chest. Her fingers clutched the black card in her pocket. Dyke had told her to call if anything felt off. And now, everything felt wrong. Chica's hands trembled as she locked the door, her mind racing. Who was that man? What did he mean by Dyke is not who you think he is? Her heart pounded as she pulled out the black card from her pocket. The weight of it suddenly felt heavier, like it carried a secret she wasn't ready to face. Taking a deep breath, she grabbed her phone and dialed the number on the back. It rang once. Twice. Then, Dyke's voice came through, calm but firm. Chica, I told you to call only if something was wrong. What happened? She hesitated for a second, then spoke quickly. A man came to my house. He was looking for you. He said I should stay away from you. He knew my name, Dyke. He knew where I live. Silence. Then, a slow exhale. Did he touch you? Did he threaten you? No, but he didn't have to. His words alone were enough. Dyke, what is going on? Who are these people? And who exactly are you? Her voice shook with frustration and fear. Another pause, then Dyke said, pack a bag. I'm sending someone to pick you up. You can't stay there. Her stomach dropped. What? Dyke, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's happening. His voice lowered, and for the first time, she heard something in his tone that sent a chill through her urgency. Chica, please. Just do as I say. You helped me when you didn't have to, and now I need to protect you. Trust me on this. Her grip on the phone tightened. She didn't know what was scarier, the mysterious men looking for Dyke or the fact that she didn't truly know who Dyke was. But deep down, she knew one thing for sure. Her life would never be the same again. Chica's hands shook as she tossed clothes into a small bag. Her mind screamed at her to stop, to think, to demand answers, but her gut told her something bigger than she understood was happening. And right now, she had no choice but to trust Dyke. A knock at the door made her freeze. Not again. Her heart slammed against her chest. Was it the strange man from earlier? Had he come back? Slowly, she crept to the door, pressing her ear against it. Who is it? Her voice came out shaky. It's me, a familiar voice replied. Dyke. She exhaled sharply and unlocked the door. The moment she saw him standing there, her breath caught. He looked different. Gone was the simple, grateful man she had given money to. Now, he stood tall in a black suit, his presence commanding, his expression serious. We need to go, he said. Chica frowned, stepping back. Dyke, tell me the truth. Who are you? Why is someone looking for you? What have you dragged me into? His jaw tightened. I promise I'll explain, but not here. It's not safe. She hesitated, every part of her screaming to demand answers. But the look in his eyes, intense, protective, made her nod. She grabbed her bag and stepped out, locking the door behind her. Dyke took her hand, leading her towards a sleek black car parked by the road. A man in sunglasses stood beside it, scanning the surroundings. Who is he? She whispered. Someone I trust, Dyke said, opening the car door for her. Chica slid inside, her heart pounding. As the car sped off into the night, one thought repeated in her mind. There was no turning back now. The car moved swiftly through the quiet streets, the city lights flashing past in streaks of gold and white. Chica sat stiffly, her mind racing with unanswered questions. Dyke sat beside her, his jaw clenched, staring ahead. She couldn't take it anymore. Dyke, talk to me. Where are we going? Who was that man? And why did he say you're not who I think you are? Dyke sighed, rubbing his temples. Chica, I never wanted to bring you into this. But the moment you gave me that money, the moment you showed kindness to a man you thought was nothing, everything changed. Her stomach twisted. Changed how? Dyke turned to her, his eyes darker than she had ever seen. I'm not just some random man on the street. I was in hiding. For a reason. And now, they've found me. Chica's throat went dry. Who are they? The man in the driver's seat, who had been silent all along, finally spoke. People who don't forgive. People who don't forget. A chill ran down her spine. She turned back to Dyke. Are you a criminal? His lips pressed into a thin line. No. But I used to work for people who are. And when I tried to leave, they didn't like that. Chica felt her heart hammering. Dyke, what did you do? He hesitated, then whispered, I walked away from a life most people don't get to walk away from. And now, they want me back, or gone. Silence filled the car. Chica swallowed hard. She had wanted answers, but now that she had them, she wasn't sure she was ready for what they meant. And worse, she wasn't sure if she could trust the man sitting next to her anymore. Chica's heart pounded as the car sped down a narrow road leading out of the city. She had never felt this level of fear before, yet there was something else, something unsettling about the way Dyke spoke, like a man carrying heavy regrets. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. So, what happens now? Are we just going to keep running forever? Dyke's eyes softened as he turned to her. No. I'm done running. I have one last move to make, and after that, I'll disappear for good. But first, I need to make sure you're safe. Chica shook her head. I don't understand, Dyke. Why are you doing all this for me? Why didn't you just leave me out of it? A small, sad smile crossed his lips. Because you saved me, Chica. That day on the street, when everyone else looked at me like I was nothing, you didn't hesitate. You gave me something no one else did, dignity. I owe you that much. Her throat tightened. And after tonight, what happens to you? Dyke exhaled slowly. I settle my past once and for all. Then I leave. For good. The car pulled into a secluded compound, surrounded by high walls and security cameras. The driver stepped out first, scanning the area before nodding to Dyke. It's clear. Dyke turned to Chica. Stay here. No matter what happens, don't come out. Her fingers tightened around his wrist. Dyke, please, don't do anything reckless. He gave her a lingering look, then stepped out into the night. Minutes passed. Then gunshots rang out. Chica's blood ran cold. No. Dyke, she screamed, reaching for the door handle. But before she could step out, the driver shoved her back inside. Stay down, he ordered. More shots. Shouting. Then silence. Chica's breath came in short gasps as she fought against the panic rising in her chest. The door suddenly flew open, and her heart nearly stopped. Dyke stood there, breathing hard, a cut on his cheek but very much alive. It's over, he said. She let out a shaky breath. You're alive. He smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. But I have to go now, Chica. I can't stay. Tears stung her eyes. Will I ever see you again? Dyke hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pressed something into her hand, a folded note. Maybe one day. But no matter what happens, never stop being the woman who helped a stranger without expecting anything in return. The world needs more people like you. Before she could say another word, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. Chica unfolded the note with trembling fingers. It was short, but it said everything. Thank you for saving me. Now it's my turn to save you. And just like that, he was gone. The moral of the story is that kindness has the power to change lives in ways we can never predict. A single act of compassion, no matter how small, can create ripples that lead to unexpected blessings. Chica's selfless act of helping a beggar not only transformed his life but also brought her face to face with the reality that goodness often comes full circle. It teaches us that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in the impact we have on others. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and you will get notified of part 2 when it comes out. Check out more stories on Zura's Folktales.